Prima domanda, cosa rappresenta per te e quanto sei affezionato a Spider-Man in particolare rispetto ad altri personaggi?
Spider-Man, the character, means so much to me because it's such an enjoyable thing to do. But it means more to me because of its attachment to my family. When I was a child, my father drew Spider-Man in front of me. And then I was able to, when I grew up, I was able to draw the character. It felt like it was a family member. So it's the two things. The character is wonderful as a creation. It's important to me because it feels close as family because of my father. But it's also, if not the best, one of the greatest characters ever created because it came from reality. A young man from where I was brought up, with all of his failings, becomes a superhero. It's brilliant. It's the better version of Superman. The antithesis. Capito?
Yes. Sei tornato dopo anni a disegnare Spider-Man, che fra l'altro per te è una tradizione di famiglia. Cosa si prova a essere tornato su Amazing Spider-Man dopo tanti anni?
I got smart again. Coming back, it was always on my mind that I would get a chance to do Spider-Man again. I felt like it was my destiny to do it again someday. I just didn't know when. I wanted to come back. It's melancholy, if you understand. And many other characters at Marvel as well. Daredevil. The characters I have done in the past, I've wanted to do again someday. And I was lucky enough to be invited to come back. It's as simple as that. I'm very happy. Very, very happy.
Ho una domanda su questo. 20 anni fa sei stato chiamato a disegnare uno degli albi più importanti e più emotivamente importanti della storia dell'Uomo Ragno. Cosa ha significato per te disegnare quell'albo e cosa significa collocare un supereroe nel contemporaneo in quel modo?
It's very difficult for me to talk about this without getting emotional. We were asked to work on this shortly after it happened, very shortly, and I did not like the idea. But when they told me it would be in honor of the heroes, it made sense. Superheroes, military, police, firemen. I have friends who are firemen. I have friends who are policemen. They lost some of their partners. Very emotional. I said no until they explained. I spoke to my father and my mother. They explained. It's a good idea because it honors. And I spent 5 weeks doing the artwork, and I'm very proud of it, but it makes me very sad just to even open and look at the artwork again. I cannot without getting emotional. Friends, family that were affected, we all get emotional talking about it. But I'm very proud, and I would do it once more if I had to.
Hai disegnato l'Uomo Ragno in tanti momenti diversi della tua vita e della sua vita editoriale. Qual è il periodo che ti è rimasto più nel cuore, quello in cui sentivi l'Uomo Ragno più tuo?
I put it in my apartment once. Before I had the ability to print reference for everything on the internet, I would put Peter Parker in my little New York apartment, and I would look around and I would draw. So I didn't have to print out reference. That's when I felt as if the character was very close to me.
Se invece ci dovessi dire una tavola o una storia del ragno a cui sei particolarmente affezionato, oltre ovviamente magari a quella dell'11 settembre di cui abbiamo già parlato, ce ne sarebbe un'altra?
Unfortunately, the image that I always think about is the reaction that Spider-Man has when he's looking at the disaster, because that's what I did before I began to cry when I watch everything happen. My wife and I were together, and I put my hands, and that's the image I do of Spider-Man. That is in my head all the time, all the time. But if I had to choose one piece of artwork, one image that I would choose to hold on to forever, it is the images that my father and I worked on in the rain, Spider-Man, that one piece. But I don't think about it the way I think about this one.
Sabato ti abbiamo visto con centinaia di ragazze, di persone, cosplay di Spider-Man. Il momento è stato emozionante, ma cosa rende Spider-Man ancora oggi così tanto speciale per così tanta gente?
I believe what makes Spider-Man so special is because he was a very normal human being. And I think it's the reason for the wonderfulness, I can't think of a better word, the specialness of the character is he was a kid from Queens like myself. That's what makes us so proud, because it was a regular child that becomes the superhero. And Stan Lee, when he created the character 60 years ago, had that in mind as the opposite of Superman, who was perfect. This is the imperfect child that becomes a superhero and still is imperfect. That's the special thing about Spider-Man, and I'm very proud because I am very, very imperfect.
In che modo stai approcciando questa nuova avventura con l'Uomo Ragno?
Again, it's the same as when I first started, is to get it done on time. And my style is called the deadline style. Capito? I hope when it finishes, I'm happy. But I may not be a better artist now than I was, but I have more wisdom and I can do many more things. And I'm very happy with that. I can make it a better story because I know more things. And I have reference from the internet on anything and everything. It's wonderful.
Il lavoro con Zeb Wells in particolare su questa run, che cosa ti sta dando rispetto alle run precedenti?
They let me do what I want. I'm able, because I'm older than everyone. They give me the respect to do as I see proper for the character. The writer will say, whatever you want to do is okay with me. So I can choreograph, I can change scenes because I know how to tell a story, and the writer, Zeb Wells, brilliant writer. Actually, many writers feel that my experience as a storyteller gives them the chance to let me do what I want. It's wonderful.
Hai disegnato praticamente tutte le icone dei comics di supereroi, non solo Marvel. Hai trascorso anche un'esperienza in DC Comics. Qual è stata la serie in cui ti sei sentito più a tuo agio in quell'ambito?
I worked with Frank Miller on several projects at DC, and working with Frank is a pleasure for the very thing I spoke about a few moments ago. He lets me play with the storytelling because we grew up at the same time in the industry. And he understands, as an artist first, then the writer, that letting the artist tell the story is the best thing to do and best way to go. So the projects I worked with Frank at DC was the special projects.
C'è un modo di dire inglese, larger than life, che è riferito alle grandi icone pop o i personaggi che in qualche modo hanno caratterizzato la storia dei fumetti, la storia in generale. Che effetto ti fa sapere che sei considerato larger than life dagli amanti di Spider-Man, dagli amanti dei supereroi?
I'm very flattered, but there's always somebody, the words of my father, there's always somebody better, smarter, stronger than you. It makes you work harder. What I am most proud of is I always work to get better. I learned that from my father, who, if that man never had an ego, I cannot have an ego. He's a brilliant artist and I am not.
Sempre rimanendo sul discorso del padre, ogni tanto, nonostante i tuoi successi, hai ancora quella sindrome un po' dell'impostore che ti fa sentire di essere il junior di John Romita?
I feel that way on my own. No one makes me feel that way anymore but me. As I say, having a brilliant artist as a father, or even if it were a best friend or my wife, somebody close to me that is a brilliant artist, I don't get jealous, no jealousy. Makes me want to work harder to get better. There are many artists in my business that are better illustrators, but I tell a better story. It makes my art better. But when I have a father that's brilliant and I have some compatriots, some peers that are brilliant artists, they're good friends I admire, and it makes me work harder. Solamente.
L'ultima domanda, the last question. Tu hai lavorato con tanti artisti, tra cui Roger Stan, De Matteis, Howard McKee, Straczynski, Dan Slott, Zeb Wells. Se dovessi pensare a uno degli scrittori con cui hai avuto particolare feeling nella storia dell'Uomo Ragno, chi penseresti?
I can't choose one writer. All of them, and I have said this, all of them make me better artist because they challenge me in their own specific way. Zeb Wells presently asks for incredibly difficult imagery, but it's wonderful and challenging. Other writers did the same. The time period with Straczynski was special because of the subject matter, and he's brilliant. The joy of working with Howard McKee and Dan Slott. Great stories, more fun, not as serious as this. Each have their own. They make me a better artist. I love them all. Is that very diplomatic?